All right, guys, we are back here. We've got a new special guest, Brian Kelly from Detroit Comics.
Hey, yeah.
Owner of the very building we're in here, yes. Thanks for having us.
Hey, no problem.
Hopefully we'll be back again.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. I understand you weren't happy with your appearance on the last show.
Yes.
Any
That
reasons?
was not me. It was my huge doppelganger.
All right, from Earth 2, right?
Gigantic. They actually put pillows under me so they arch my gut out, get me out there. So right now I'm like real svelte.
Okay, so anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off by talking about what we feel are some of the most underrated comics of the past decade, or basically best, something that we think that more people should be reading but aren't for some reason. So if you want, David, you can start off. Give us something that you think.
Sure, I'd probably go with any of Rick Geary's series of Victorian murder or the Treasury of 20th Century Murder that he just kind of moved into. He just went from 19th century famous murder cases to 20th century famous murder cases. But he's covered things like Jack the Ripper, Lizzie Borden, The Beast of Chicago.
And you can
No,
give us
it's
through
not in
Diamond?
stock anywhere.
Why not? Why isn't it in stock? It should be. Okay. I was in a shop in Alaska and they had every book he's done.
Did they have Beast
And I
of
was
Burden?
so impressed. I was so impressed. But I'd say those are great books. Those are books that I like, that I can recommend to nearly anybody. And I think Rick Geary's underrated.
Okay, Jeremy?
Well, it's not exactly underrated because I'm sure everybody bought a copy, but it is a book that I cannot live without, and that is Mike Mignola's Screw on Head. Not to sound too Mignola, heavy in this episode, but it's an amazing story.
It's not funny.
It's like it's so like perfect. The size of it and just the style. I like that book a lot.
Excellent. Okay. Brian?
Grendel.
Grendel's been around for 30 years or something, right? And sorry, who's the creator of that? Is that?
That was Matt Wagner.
Okay, that's what I thought. And he's a major creator.
He is a major creator of it, but it kind of left his reins after Comico went out of business, and it kind of went to Dark Horse, and it's still in legal limbo.
Okay.
I asked a question at the retailer summit to say when it's going to be omnibide, and they had no. My wife.
They knew what the word meant.
Yeah. My wife made fun of me because I was all like, "Ooh, what is it?" Yes, you, Grendel. When is it omnibide?
Okay. Okay.
See,
for me, Jeffrey Brown's, I guess you'd call it his girlfriend series. Basically, his run of autobiographical graphic novels. I don't know if any of you guys have read them.
I've read some of his other stuff where I've seen that series advertised, but I haven't read any of those.
Absolutely, everybody should be picking this up. On the other hand, we're now about to discuss 4 comics you absolutely should not be picking up because these are what we consider the 4 most overrated or worst comics of the zeros.
Right.
And we're going to start with David.
Oh, no, we're starting at that end.
Oh, we're going to start at
No,
this
we can't. No, we have to go that.
Okay, then you know what? Fine, we'll start with me. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take the plunge here. I've got my list.
Oh, he's got a list.
Yeah,
Total
fine.
fake.
We did not
Cheat
know.
sheets?
Now, you guys have may heard this. I'm obviously not going to pick on some guy who's making a comic out of his basement for no money, teenager. I'm not going to pick on that. I'm going to pick on something that's actually getting a lot of attention, a lot of sales, and making a lot of money. So, my pick is Ultimate Spider-Man. I don't get it. I've read several issues. People who watch the show.
Was good.
Well, you know what, though? I tried to read those as well, and I'm not a Brian Michael Bendis fan, and I'm not a Mark Bagley fan, and I don't get it. I don't get the appeal.
Hello,
I don't get the indie snob. Yeah, no, I don't. And I know.
I like Jeffrey Brown.
I know that we don't like to pick on, you guys don't like to pick on fellow professionals, but I just have to say I don't get it at all. I don't get the appeal. I mean, I somewhat get the appeal of the writing, but I don't get the appeal of the art one bit. Overrated. But that's just me. Brian, you can go next. Without hurting anybody's feelings,
You shifted my argument a little bit because I was gonna say Ultimate, a bit of the Ultimates, but
You mean Miller and Hitch?
But I am gonna segue. Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna segue over into the Millar camp a little bit and say Wanted was probably one of the most overrated pieces of crap ever.
Really?
I mean, it was just.
Don't hold back,
I mean, I really don't want to. Yeah, it was overrated. I mean, the whole thing of why not get Eminem for the movie? Why not? You know, I mean, it would have been a whole lot better concept probably. I mean, it just shows. Make them supervillains. Make them. But it just kind of rang untrue. We don't have
Jeremy.
it here. We just throw it out.
I think it's called X-Infernus.
That's terrible.
Oh, that was like
Mark
a
Silvestri
sequel?
back on X-Men, bringing back Ilyana Rasputin. Magic is one of my favorite characters of all time, and they were bringing her back, but I don't know. I was very disappointed with the way Mark's stuff looked on that. I mean, I grew up with Uncanny X-Men, Mark Silvestri, the Reavers. You know, I was like copying all that stuff because that's what comics was.
Wasn't it Inferno back in the 80s?
It's a sequel. It's like Odd Couple 2, same thing.
Yeah, like
Inferno was awesome.
biting lampposts and
Well, I really enjoyed Inferno, the whole Inferno series. I love that stuff.
David.
I can't come up with anything.
Boo.
And I'm not trying to cop out. I'm saying that I'm buying a lot less nowadays. So I'm pretty much only picking up stuff that I really am familiar with. But I could say that I'm pretty much avoiding all the mainstream superhero stuff right now. And part of that's because of major crossover events and stuff like that, where I couldn't just pick up a title. No. I now have to pick up that publishing company's full line,
Blackest
like
Night,
for Blackest Night or Identity Crisis or whatever that thing was, or
Heroic Age now, whatever it is.
Skull Crisis Wars,
Dark Reign,
Dark.
Forever.
You just start putting words together.
Yeah,
Blood,
you sound like an old man.
Yeah,
goddamn Crisis Wars.
It's
when I was your age, there were only 2 teams of X-Men.
Yeah, this is true.
And I used to actually, that's funny. I used to be a huge X-Men fan, and the last couple of times that I've picked up a trade when I'm at somebody else's house and I see that they have it, and I flip through it or try reading it.
Put it in my bag.
At most, I steal it, take it home,
Burn it.
I always feel like, this isn't what I remember X-Men being. I mean, I know that things change and everything, but even just tone or similarity of characters, or characters are acting completely against who they were set up to be. And I don't mind if a character evolves, but when they just seem like they made a new character but are still calling it this other character, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, and you know, with X-Men, there was only really one writer for the first 17 years, Chris Claremont, so at least the characterization
he's getting
was,
better every year.
Well, not to judge whether it was good or bad, but at least it was consistent.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and with X Factor, Louise Simonson, same with New Mutants, but now, you're right, you pick it up and the characters are unrecognizable. And so, I mean, sometimes people will say, well, you don't like it because it's not meant for you, it's meant for kids. I don't know if it's necessarily that. I just really think that a lot of times it's just too confusing now.
I don't think it's meant for... I mean, you take stuff out, like all the stuff that's been going on, I guess, between Jean and Scott. Or not Jean and Scott, but Emma and Scott.
Yes.
In X-Men. Like, that stuff is decidedly not for kids.
No.
It's like they're just writing to 30 and 40-year-old men who used to buy X-Men.
Who are still reading it.
Who are still reading X-Men.
Leery.
Except for me.
But, you know, the newer stuff, like, I mean, this Nightcrawler, everyone's all up in arms because Nightcrawler's been killed. And I mean, I read the issue, and I mean, it's nonsense.
Nightcrawler was a great character, and I felt like years ago they took him on this weird little diversion and made him a character that he's not supposed to be, and took him totally away from archetype of what he was.
Yep.
And
well, you know what?
It's just not interesting after that.
I agree, and I like to go on a positive note instead of going on a down note. So you were a big fan of Nightcrawler?
Yeah, I liked the whole second, like the giant-sized team.
Yes.
Banshee, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, Wolverine.
You an X-Men fan, Jeremy?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And what was your favorite era? Mark Silvestri, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, Mark Silvestri. I loved Bill Sienkiewicz on New Mutants, the Demon Bear saga.
Yes, everyone
is
does.
another like staple of mine.
A lot of good characters there.
You're like early 80s X-Men fan though, like where Storm had the Mohawk.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Ryan, what's your favorite X-Men era? That's what this has devolved into.
Yeah.
Fanboys.
Yeah. The Terry Austin stuff probably.
So John Byrne.
Yeah. Just coming off of that, but there's also the Butch Guice stuff.
Okay.
Right after that kind of came into the John Romita Jr.
Right.
Kind of segue. Just that little like 160, 170.
You know, Paul Smith was there. Is that who you mean?
Maybe. Yes. Sorry, Paul
It's
Smith.
from the Ashes.
Yes.
You know what? That's actually my favorite era too of the classic X-Men was Paul Smith. That felt like what X-Men could have gone on to be, but then it sort of took a downturn after that.
Yeah.
But that was the peak. I agree.
Yes.
But anyway, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us today for this very special episode of the Comic Book Syndicate, the first international episode. Yes, we are in Detroit today. Thank you, Brian, for that. Anyway, join us again next time. We'll probably be back at FOG, but if not, we'll be in some other country. We'll see you again soon.
drop $5.